Right there. Yep, that's me. How's it going, Vape World? Token Vaping. So today's juice review is another flavor in a line that I was actually really cool. It was really cool, and I was really honored to be able to do a review for this company, mainly because they are based out of Germany. And obviously, vaping is worldwide. Even though we see it all the time, we see it on social media, we hear about it, we talk to people that do vape in other countries. It's just cool to be able to actually try something or learn about a different company that's outside, the U.S. for me at least. And I'm sure there are people overseas that feel the same way if they get to try something from the U.S. or something like that. But it's just really cool just to know how far out vaping has spread and how it's traversed, boundaries and countries and states, excuse me, things like that. So the company that I'm working with right now is Tom Klark's. And they do have a website at tomklark.com. That's Clark with a K. Definitely go ahead and check that out. They are on Instagram and Facebook as well. I'm not sure if they are on Twitter. I don't know. I do know there are a lot of overseas companies that stay off of Twitter just because of the language barrier for some people. If you go to tomklark.com, I will warn you, it does first pop up in German, but it does give you the option to switch it over into English. So this is the flavor that I'm working with today. The line itself is basically, they call it Tom Sawyer, but there are different variations of this. I did a previous video for this company already, but that was the Sawyer Fruit. This is going to be the Sawyer Dessert. So this is their label, which is really cool because it has a little picture of, I'm assuming that's supposed to be like the original version of a Tom Sawyer out of the book. There's the main logo for Tom Klark. It does say Berlin. And then it has a best before date on here. Honestly, I really don't think I would hold on to it that long before I tried it. And then it does say Sawyer and then dessert here. It does have a nicotine, which is a 3. It is offered in a 0, 3, 6, and a 12, so they do accommodate a decent range of nicotine needs. Because beyond that, honestly, anything over a 6, really, in my opinion, the nicotine starts to change the flavor of what you're vaping, so you may not be getting the full extent of the flavor itself, but anything beyond a 12, it doesn't benefit you flavor-wise as much as people think it might. But on the back here, it does have the mix ratio. It is a 70-30, so the clouds should be pretty solid like it was with the first flavor. Flavor should pop really nicely as well. Now the rest of it is in German, and unfortunately I apologize, I do not speak German, nor can I read German, but it is the warning and ingredient labeling in there. But they do have to have that as well. There is their website. Now if you go to the website, it does offer these in various sizes. It's just a little hard as far as knowing for sure if they provide them all in sizes like this. And the reason why I say that is if you go to the website and you choose a flavor, it'll give you the bottle size to pick from. Now, the smallest size you can pick is a 10 milliliter, which is going to be a bottle like this. Now, the thing that I think is cool about having bottles this size is that if you can purchase all of the flavors in small bottles like this and basically have them as sample bottles to try them out before you invest the money into buying the bigger bottles. Now, where it gets a little confusing is if you want a bigger size bottle, it'll say like 10 milliliter, and then and looking at the site directly right now, it'll say 10 milliliter, and then there's 3 10 milliliters, which would be a 30 mil. So if you ordered 3 of the same flavor in the 10 milliliters, I'm pretty sure they would just put it all into one 30 ml bottle size. A lot of it is going to depend on shipping and things like that, but it does go up. Size-wise, it does go bigger than that as well. So, it does give you the different size options. It does give you the nick options and things like that. So they do accommodate the same as what we're used to. They just might do it a little differently. And like I said, a lot of that may have to do with shipping and worldwide things like that as well. But as far as for the dessert flavor, like I said, the line itself is basically it's called Tom Sawyer. This one is the dessert. Now, it's not going to be a specific one because here's one of the cool things I've discovered about this company. They don't go for like a specific flavor, so to speak, as far as, if somebody's looking at a certain type of this flavor, that flavor, or it tastes exactly like that. They use multiple, they call them aromas. I'm assuming they're going to be more of like flavors for what we're used to, but they use multiple flavors to accommodate and get to the specific type of flavor that they're going for. This is more just a dessert flavor. It's not meant to be a one specific type of dessert. On the website, their flavor profile is going to be described best as like in the dessert line, it's going to be a chocolate cake, pastry, tiramisu, ice cream, creme brulee, cappuccino style like that, but it's not going to have a specific one or the other because they use multiple different types of aromas or flavoring. The other cool thing about that is because they do use so many different types, it does affect the flavor when you change the wattage, and I will try a couple of different ones real quick here on the video review for itself. Background noise, I do apologize ahead of time if you can't hear it. I'm sorry if it is. My dog decided to get hungry and is deciding to eat right this very exact moment, so I do apologize for that. But this is the bottle, and there is a safety ring right in here, which will pop as they all do, and I'll get to that here in 1 second. But it is a first fave, first review, and as you can see, it is going on fresh cotton right there, which, as always, the cotton of choice that I use is Texas Tough Cotton. It just works really well for me. I like the fact that it holds up really well, especially if you use a specific singular flavor on it, and it doesn't have a lot of break-in time, which is really nice because depending on the flavor that you want to vape, you don't feel like you have to go through multiple hits on it before you get the full flavor effect. Most of the time, it usually only takes me 1 or 2 hits off of it, and then I'm hitting full flavor all the way through. So that's really nice. But I will put the link for the cotton in the comment box below. So we're going to go ahead and pop this open. And as you can see, like a lot of other companies are switching to nowadays, they are switching to a really thin nozzle tip like this, which makes it really easy and nice to work with, especially if you're using a tank, because a lot of the fill port holes on tanks are, they're not all the same size, but they don't accommodate all size tips for like unicorn bottles and things like that. So to have a thinner nozzle tip or a needle style tip like that is nice, especially when it's just part of the bottle. So I'm going to go ahead and juice this up here real quick, and we will get to trying to see if this has a very distinguished flavor, or if this is meant, like the profile was saying, if this is meant to be more of just a dessert style flavor in vein of certain things that people associate as desserts. And then, like I said, I will try to bump this up a couple of notches on the wattage level and see how much of a difference it makes in the flavor itself. So I did a couple of pre-burns. I'm going to go ahead and cap this up real fast. So as always, I'm vaping at 75 watts, and this is the dessert version of Sawyer from Tom Klark. So as you can see, the clouds are pretty dense, and it is a 70-30, and it's a hard mix in my opinion, just because it's that's basically what the mid-range is nowadays for most companies, is the 70-30. But depending on what the flavoring or type of style it is, the clouds can either be really dense or really light. This one is nice; it's nicely dense. Okay, so that was a couple of hits in there just to get the break in for that. So I'm going to go ahead and do a couple more drops. I'll do 1 or 2 more hits at 75 watts, and then I'm going to bump it up to 85 and see how big of a change there is in flavors, and then I'll let you know what I'm getting out of the taste of it. Okay, so we're going to bump this up to 85. Right there, 85. And I think I see the pattern with it, or at least I think I do. Okay, so when it says it describes it as a dessert flavor, it definitely has that style of a flavor to it. Now, as far as a specific flavor, I'm not going to say that it's going to taste like a cake. It's going to taste like a cappuccino specifically, or things like that. The flavor of it, with the multiple flavors that are in the bottle itself, it definitely has a very dessert taste feel to it. So, and I believe that's what they were going more for, was just the general feel of the flavor, which they definitely did do. I mean, this is something that I could definitely see vaping, after you're done eating, more so than just using it as like a, if it was like an appetizer style or anything like that. Now, if you like the heavier style vapes, this would be a good all day vape. This particular version for me might be a little heavy to do all day, but it definitely has a very distinctive taste to it, as far as whether you definitely would not classify it as like a fruity flavor or a breakfast flavor. It most definitely is a dessert style flavor. Now, at 75 watts, it had honestly more of a creme brulee style flavor to it, without having the heaviness that you associate with that. At 85 watts, it did actually go more towards the tiramisu flavor. If you've ever had that before, there is a very distinctive aftertaste to that I definitely do taste in this. But it definitely has a difference in flavor, but not too extreme to where you feel like you're vaping something completely different. So it is kind of cool that depending on what you vape at level wise, wattage or temp control, things like that, that it does change up the flavor a little bit. So it does give you a little uniqueness to it. It makes you feel like you're experiencing something different each time you vape it. So that's definitely cool. But it's definitely a unique flavor. It's a unique line. It's a pretty solid flavor if you're looking for something without being very specific, saying it has to taste like this. And you're looking for something more of like, I just want something that, is a dessert style, has a creaminess to it, has a sweetness to it, but I don't want it to be anything specific. Tom Klark would definitely be something that would fit that profile almost perfectly for that. So definitely check them out at tomklark.com. They're on Instagram and Facebook as well. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity to try out your line. It is a huge privilege being in the States to be able to try something that's overseas. As always, guys, I'm Token Vaping. I'm here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Pinterest. Anything that I myself can do to help further enhance your vaping experience and make it more enjoyable for you, it's the only reason why I do this. So definitely hit me up. Let me know if there's anything that you have a question about, a comment, concern. If there's a particular video that you're looking for or would like to see, I will definitely do everything in my power to make that happen. But until next time, morning, noon, or night, always remember, truly love yourself. Vape on, vape strong. Have a good one, guys.